The reason we're here is to discuss legislation to help veterans and also soldiers separated from the military that's going to be considered by the House of Representatives tomorrow. And it includes legislation that I originally introduced in the summer of 2008. And the focus of the legislation is to try to help our veterans get back to work. In the first week of September, I had an opportunity to visit Vermont troops who were serving in Afghanistan. And one of the things that they began to raise as they look forward to returning home is concern about getting back to work. Vermont employers have been tremendous at welcoming back to their jobs those of our men and women from Vermont who were serving in Afghanistan and served in Iraq. This is critically important to them getting back to a normal life. And it's a huge challenge because those soldiers have one another when they're there, but they go through an intense experience, and then suddenly when they get home, they've got to get back to life as normal. And as much as we Vermonters try to help, they've had an experience that's unique to them. Getting back to work is fundamentally important to their success. The legislation I'm introducing will be incorporated in part of a larger bill, and it's focused on trying to help employers work with returning servicemen and women, but also folks who have a history of service in the United States forces. So it's not just those who are in the National Guard now, it's also people who have served in the military before. And it's a partnership on a pilot program basis that'll be $10 million a year, where the employer who is taking on a service person who's now disconnected from the military, the opportunity to get employment training towards a long-term career job. And many of the folks who served in the military have learned skills, and they have to be transferred into private employment. And our goal in this legislation that I've introduced is to have a partnership between employers who are willing to help and also the servicemen and women who had served their country, and give them that opportunity to get back to work. This legislation will be voted on either Wednesday or Thursday as part of a larger bill intended to help our men and women who served us in Afghanistan and Iraq and in prior conflicts get back into the labor force. Now, today with me are folks who have been extremely helpful. First, there's Ed Lavaletta, who's the legislative director of the VFW. And Ed has served his country in Vietnam. And when he returned from Vietnam, he had a program similar to what we're going to vote on Wednesday or Thursday. And in fact, the program that I'm introducing is modeled after something that had worked successfully for the Vietnam War veterans. And he's going to make a few comments. Also, we have Melissa Hirsch here from Champlain College. It's essential that our soldiers have education opportunities, and in legislation that we've previously passed, returning soldiers from all services will have the opportunity to have college tuition covered so that they can get back, they can get the education benefits that they need. And it's similar to the GI Bill that was so successful for our World War II era veterans. And also joining us today is Sarah Jones and Kathy Sherling from People's United. They're not going to make comments, but they're here because they're an example of a Vermont employer who has really stood by the men and women serving our country. They have employees who've been deployed, and those employees are going to have their jobs awaiting them when they return. And I just can't tell you what a big difference that makes to our service people. You know, they're over there, and the conditions they're working on are tough. They don't complain about anything. They have each other, and that is a strong emotional support for them. But when they come back, as much as we try to help, none of us have had the experience they have. And what helps more than anything else, I'm told by people who have experience like Ed, is that opportunity to get back to normal life. And normal life includes a good job. So I want to thank People's United for sending representatives and for the work that they do. And then I want to ask Ed Lavaletta and then Melissa Hirsch to make a few comments about the importance of this. Ed?
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Ed.
First of all, I'd like to let you know that the Veterans of Foreign Wars Washington office is happy that Pete is sponsoring a program like this, and they're standing behind it 100%. They're really impressed by the initiative that he has put to get this program together. I can say I'm a recipient of this type of program without a Vietnam. I'm sure Peter's going to have some improved portions of the program, improve over that program that we've had in existence. They got to realize that when you step from combat, coming into the real world and coming back to the world, the door gets slammed behind you, and you're standing there looking forward, and there's nothing there, and you got to fend for yourself. Programs like this gives a guy a downtime. Whether he pursues that profession that he was trained in, it's giving him a chance to see what the real world is like, the one he left. A lot of these guys came back out of high school and never been in the real world. And this is giving them a chance for survival. And I appreciate what Peter's doing. We support it 100%.
Great. Thank you
very much.
Thank
Peter.
you. Great. Melissa Hirsch from Champlain College, which has been doing a great job educating young people for long-term careers. Melissa?
Congratulations on passing this bill out of committee.
Oh, out of committee.
Out of
That's
committee.
Right. We got a ways to go.
One step at a time, right?
But I like the optimism.
Okay.
Thanks.
On behalf of Champlain College, I want to congratulate Congressman Welch on passing the MTP legislation out of committee, and hopefully it will pass this week. We're very grateful for his hard work and are big supporters of this legislation. Vermont veterans and Guard members have been invaluable members of Champlain College's community. Currently, we have 3 employees that are serving in Afghanistan. Congressman Welch's MTP legislation will provide valuable opportunities to those who have served our country. The MTP Act would create a pilot program, as Congressman Welch already said, partnering with the business community to fund job training for unemployed and underemployed veterans, otherwise ineligible for other training and education benefits. Our state must come together to find ways of supporting veterans and Guard members. Champlain College is doing our part by providing a significant tuition waiver for veterans who qualify for assistance under the Yellow Ribbon Program, provision of the post-9/11 GI Bill. As a participant in the Yellow Ribbon Program, Champlain provides additional tuition assistance along with the VA benefits, resulting in free tuition for qualifying veterans. This benefit began last summer, and we have hired an employee to actually manage this program and work with individual veterans as they're making this transition. Through this program, Champlain has shown its dedication to serving veterans and giving them the opportunities they need to be fully educated and employed in Vermont. Thank you.
Thank you. The other announcement I wanted to make is that when in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to begin a series of roundtables with veterans and with Vermont businesses to discuss ways in which we can work together to help those veterans reintegrate into the workforce and into Vermont. The legislation that we're going to vote on in the House is one step. It's a small step. It can be useful. It's by no means the answer. And essentially what we want to do in Vermont is pull together our employers. Our education institutions have really been stepping up to figure out ways where we as a community can be available and responsive to help those soldiers get back to work. So, any questions?
I know you're optimistic, but in reality, is it likely to pass, do you think? What are you hearing?
I think it will pass in the House. I have bipartisan support on this. Congressman Boozman from Alabama, who's a ranking member on the Veteran Affairs Committee, was a co-sponsor of this legislation. So I think the one area where we've had good bipartisan support in the House has been on stepping up for our veterans. So I am optimistic that we'll get a good solid vote and it'll be passed on a bipartisan basis. Now, it'll have to go to the Senate, and who knows what happens there.
When you're talking about the job training, really, are you talking about returning members who won't be returning to the same jobs, and so need training to get into perhaps another field, or those who are coming back but the transition is tough?
Yeah.
Really, what are we
We're talking. This program will be eligible to people who've separated from the military, not just the Guard, but people who've served in previous conflicts, who've been unemployed and need a skill in order to get back into the workforce. So, come on up, Ed, and you can speak. But this is a single component to address a target a group of people who served in the military. It's not just for the Guard. It would be available to those who served but separated from the service. Ed?
There's one little thing here. Some of the jobs in the military are in line with civilian jobs, and they're high-tech jobs. And this programs like this, they can stay within their field, and it gives them a chance for the transition to be used to the civilian life. A lot of the high-tech jobs are beyond a lot of civilian capability. Okay, they're not necessarily going to a higher tech job. They might be going down. Okay, so it does. The main thing is the transition. That is a big deal.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Thank you very much.